Hi everybody, welcome to the August Creating Kindness Design Team video hop. I'm Lou Kitzelman and I live on the Sunshine Coast, Australia. You'll find the information for my blog listed below this video, plus a list of all the design team members who are in the video hop, and hop over to my blog and you'll find out a list of all the design team members who are also in the blog hop. So before I get on to talking about this, I must just give you full disclosure. I'm crafting in my jammies today. I've got my cat slippers on. I'm halfway through a cup of coffee. Time is just not on my side for this video, and so I just decided I'm just going to have to get in. This is real life crafting. I'm sure it'll all work out, but let's see how we go. And really, this is how we craft. A lot of us craft anyway, so let's get on with it. So the theme for August is Rustic. This is the card that I first made for a wedding, and I'm going to make a version of that for you today, slightly different but with all the same elements in it. When I was thinking about rustic, I was thinking about what that means to me, and for me it's lots of different wood and natural fibres, different textures, colours from nature, and sort of soft muted colours. The design style for me is sort of a bit more organic and a little bit less precise. And I actually originally thought that I actually don't ever use the rustic style, but a lot of those elements often feature in my work, so maybe I'm a bit more rustic than what I thought. I've made a wedding card today because a lot of the weddings that I've seen styled recently have got a rustic theme. So I guess they're sort of pretty rustic, not so rustic if that's a style. I guess what I'm saying is with any design style you can be from one extreme to the other, and so I thought I'd make a wedding card to fit in with that trend at the moment, because a lot of people ask me for cards, to make cards for weddings to go with the theme of the wedding or to tie in with the people. So let's just have a look at some of the different things that I've used in my card. I've got some texture. I've got this great wood textures DSP from Designer Series paper from Stampin' Up that I'm so glad that's continued into the new catalogue, and we've got some different leaf elements here. So I'm going to break this card down and show you how I did some of the elements. I'm going to leave the birds until last. That's just a neat little trick to have. So I've just used shimmery white cardstock, and I've just used one of the layering circles framelits just to cut out a circle from the shimmery white. And for this card I've used the great new Subtles embossing folder that gives this really great texture. Hopefully that's showing up. I'm quite impressed that I haven't actually spilt my coffee yet, so well done to me. And then the other card that I'm going to make today, I've used this lovely floral embossing folder, and I've just picked out the bit that I wanted to show, just to give a bit of that sort of texture. And then we've got the DSP, the Designer Series paper, and I've just stamped and used white embossing powder, the sentiment on here, and they come from the Itty Bitty Greetings stamp set, which is really great. It's an excellent set to have, particularly for beginners. And just while I'm talking about beginners, you might not know that along with my friend Kelly Kent, I have some other videos that is a subscription based video called Stamping Confidence, and we that's all the basics for stamping. And if you're new to stamping, it's a really good crash course in knowing what to do, and we just sort of take out all the mystery for you. And this is a really good set to have for beginners. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. Maybe I've had too many sips of coffee. You can find out all the information about Stamping Confidence on my blog. That's the Itty Bitty Greetings. That's what I've used along here. And then on the card here you might notice these beautiful little crisscrosses. That's actually a framelit that you use in the Big Shot, so you can see it here. And so I'm just going to show you how I did that. So that comes, it's from the Stitch Labels stamp framelit set, and there's a couple of different edges. I've used this great crisscross one, and when you use it, particularly if you're using it on a card front, I started at the fold, so I stuck it in. The reason that I've got these little sticky notes is, even though I used the magnetic plate, I didn't want it to move around at all. And what I use to get it perfectly straight is my quilting ruler, and because it's clear, you can pop it on there and you can line it up perfectly with, it might be a bit hard to see, but with those. So that's a really good tip. So you run it through your big shot, and it's not quite long enough, and so what you do is you just overlap maybe the last 3 or 4 crosses, and you just wiggle it around until it finds its little space, and get the ruler in again, make sure it's all straight, and then run it through the big shot, and then you have that continuous line there, which I think is a really nice design element. So we've got, you can see I'm starting to build up the design. This is going to be, as you can see, a congratulations card. So that's sort of going to go on like that. And I'm going to make this one a little bit less fussy, I guess, is how I would call this one. I might need to do a bit of pruning. I think there may be a bit too much foliage on this one, but anyway, I'll have a look in a little while and see, and I might snip off a few branches, but it's a fun sort of design anyway. So we've got this, and then once I pop the bird on, I've also cut out some foliage using this thinlet here from the Petals and More set, and that coordinates with the Petal Palette stamp set. And this is a sweet little bird that I've used, and I'm going to show you how I did the mirror image of him in a moment. So we've got that, and I love this rich razzleberry ribbon. It's this beautiful velvet. So let's go ahead and put that on so I can get that out of the way. So it's quite a sort of an organic way. I sort of had this on here and worked out about where my circle's going to go, and then I just sort of popped it off like that, and then I always work off the reel because I don't want to waste anything, so I chop it off once I have it in exactly how I want it. Now you just sort of twist that around so that you get it to go like that, and I think we'll have that. So I'm just going to start by popping a little bit of tape. This is going to be underneath my designer series paper, just to hold it in place. Just these first two, otherwise it just goes everywhere. For me, I'm a bit of a klutz like that. So a bit like that, and then I think I want this one to sort of be like that. And I find the more I play around with it, the less happy I am, so I just sort of go for it. Because the whole idea for me for Rustic is a bit organic, as I said, a bit sort of free form, not quite so precise. Let's cut that off. There we go. So we've got the base there. I'm just going to pop some more tape over that. I'll take this tape off, and I've made sure that I don't see any of that. So that's going to be on like that. I won't put the foliage on until I do the bird, but before I do that, I've just got a little bit of stamping to do. And just excuse me for a second, my battery is running low. On my laptop, rookie error there, but let's keep going. It's all's good now. So as I was just saying, I wanted to do some stamping, show you some stamping. So this is my envelope for this card. So it goes like that. So I've just, same as what I've done here, just done some white embossing on the Wood Textures DSP, and on the inside of my card I've just done something very similar. and I just wanted to show you how I did that on my card. So make sure the envelope's up the right way. I've got these beautiful, very vanilla envelopes. I normally try and stick to one stamp set, try not to use a million different ones, but this little image here from Rooted in Nature was just perfect for this. And the colours, which I think are really perfect for the rustic theme, we've got this beautiful new seafoam and the returning mint macaron. Welcome back, I missed you so much. So I'm going to use this as my guide, and I'll keep moving it. So I'm going to start with the lighter colour, this seafoam, soft seafoam. So I'm just going to position it, take away my thing and pop that back. And I'm just going to sort of have bits of foliage coming out. I might do 3 of these. When you're stamping, you just need to make sure that the stem doesn't go through onto the other side. Okay, just stamp off that colour. And I'll go to use a dark colour yet this time. Pop that there, pop that there, and what do we think? Let's pop another one down here. Just have 2 of this. Oh, actually I might just do a tiny little bit. Just peeking out there. And then just use the tearing tape to stick that on. I just think it's a really nice way to dress up your envelopes without a great deal of effort. So there's that. Let's get rid of the ink pads. Just pull them towards you. Now I wanted to show you my bird. So the stamp is actually, there's only one bird stamp, so you can just stamp it that way, but by using the mirror image stamping technique you can get the bird to be faced the other way, which is perfect when you want a wedding card, so you've got 2 sweet birds. And I've purposely left them gender neutral, and I think this is a great card just to celebrate anyone getting married. So let's have a look at how I did that. I'm actually using my Stamparatus but without the arms on there. So what I've got is a piece of DSP. So when you cut out, normally when I did the first bird, I stamped it with Versamark, popped the embossing powder on, heat set it, and then ran it through the Big Shot to die cut it. But for my second bird, it's a bit difficult because you actually end up stamping it and you'd actually have to cut it out back the front, if that makes sense. So what I did was I turned my DSP over and ran it through and die cut it. And then I'm using this as a jig, so this was a piece that I cut out from the other side, and the Stamparatus is really great for keeping it in, holding it for you. So there we go. And then because it's that little tiny piece, it's quite difficult to keep track of. So I'll bring in my Versamark, and I'm going to use, this is actually a piece of quilting template plastic. I can't remember what it's called, and this is really good for positioning your paper so that you get perfect stamp alignment. And one of my fellow Creating Kindness design team members, Cheryl Miller, has a fantastic video on using it, so I really recommend that you go and check out that. And I'm going to use this effectively as a stamp. And I'm going to stamp on the top left hand side because I want to turn over and use that as my stamp. So I'm using my Versamark ink here, which is just the clear ink, upside down, but you get the idea. Ink up my little bird. Now I'm going to stamp it on my clear plastic. If you have an old Stampin' Jig, you can use the imaging sheet from that. And when you stamp it, you just try not to slide it around because it is a little bit slippery. And we'll just get that out of the way. Oh, and before I do that, rookie mistake again, just dust it with your embossing buddy, just so that you only get the embossing powder to stick exactly where you want it. And now this is probably a bit hard to see, and I've got to get my big head in the way, but you just line up the stamp in that die cut image and then just run your finger over that. I apologize, the Versamark's clear, so it's very hard for you to see. And then you just take that off and very carefully, without touching it if that side, sort of pop it out. And then I like to use a pair of tweezers because it's very easy to drop this. And I'm just going to go off camera and just pop it in my embossing powder. And I've just popped some white embossing powder on it. Just going to hit it with the heat tool. Just like that. And then you can see my image here. Now it's not nearly as crisp as the one that you stamp first up, but I think it's not that noticeable. And as I said, it's really a great way to use a stamp and get two of the same image. Now I'm just going to clean this before I go on. Because it's sticky, I just like to use my Stampin' Mist. I'm just using it on a tissue just to get that off there. So that's just a little tip on mirror stamping. Let's quickly get on and make this. Okay, so we're going to have that like that. I'm just going to bring my envelope in because I want some sticky off bits, and I want to make sure that it's going to fit in the envelope. So it's going to sit about like that. So I'm going to go ahead and position something, and if I don't start positioning something, I end up just fiddling around too much. And as I said, I've got a few minutes to try and get this done, and if I waited for it to be perfect, I just I would never get it done. So, and if I'm too disorganized, I'm sure you've already gotten exasperated and you've already turned off. So if you're still hanging in there, thank you. There we go. So let's pop. Oh no, I can't put that on yet. Oh yes, I can. That's all right. We'll pop that on there. On the first one, I stuck the images behind it, but let's just pop that there, just like that. I won't stick this one down yet, and I'm going to use this bird, even though it's not as crisp, just because I've already done it and I've positioned my embossing folder so that I can use this sweet image on here. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at this foliage here. Now I've already cut that off. Let's see how that fits on. Okay, that will be great. So as I said, to me Rustic's a little bit less precise. I'm just going to pop a glue dot on there. Now you can glue it down, but I quite like having some sticky up bits. Yes, that's definitely the technical term. Okay, and let's stick. Now the bird's going to be over that, so you won't see that. So that's going to be on there, and I'll just keep this in position, keep it on my envelope so I know how far the sweet little bird. Yeah, that's going to be great. I'll have to just be careful how I position him. I don't want it to look like he's got a stick coming out of his bottom. Can't have that. Let's see where we can position this stick. That's going to be on there. Yeah, let's do that, and we'll have, so that'll be about there. And then I've also got, so that was mint macaron, foliage, and we've got some of this one, and so it's really just each time you do it, it turns out differently. It's really just a matter of cutting some foliage and see where you think it might go. And if I just try and shove that in underneath the bird, probably helpful if I move it up a little bit for you to see. Let's just snip off that little bit, and okay, pop a bit of a glue dot on there just to help me. Just like that. Funny how Rustic's supposed to be sort of less precise and it takes you longer to do the designing. And I might just chop this little bit off. Just do a bit of pruning. There we go. And then I'm just going to stick another little bit, maybe this bit, do you think? Have it coming out from underneath like that. So I'll stick a glue dot on the back of that, and then when I shove it in underneath, that will keep it in place. So we've got like that. Let's just see if we can avoid the Stampin' Dimensionals. Whoop. How are we going? There we go. Alright, I think that's going to be it for that panel. Apart from, I might just try and tie a bow like I did on this one. Oh, so much for me keeping my videos shorter. I did try, but hopefully you have enjoyed seeing some of the design process that I use. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just work out where I want that bow. I want that bow to be about there. And I'm just going to pop some tape just over that. Just like that. Now I'll take off all the backing off that, and I'll take the backing off this. I can move that now. There we go. Just like that. And then I just need my foam adhesive strips, and I'm just going to pop them sort of where I know the velvet ribbon won't be. So a bit there, a bit there. There we go. I think that should be good. I'll take the backing off. I'm going to position this on, and then I'll tie the bow. Sometimes I like to have a solid surface or a not moving surface to tie my bows to, so I'll just keep that out of the way. Pop that on, lining up my gorgeous crosses. There we go. And then I can just sort of weave this. Now I'll just sort of try it underneath this foliage and see if I like that. On this one here I sort of went over some and under some. Sometimes it's a matter of just trying it and see. I'm going to go over that one because that actually looks a bit weird, and just for this I'll just snip it off. I'm just going to grab my glue dots as well. I quite often use my glue dot, particularly with string like this that's a little bit thicker and a little bit harder to tie, that it doesn't often always hold the knot straight up. Sort of use it as you know, where you'd get someone to come and pop their finger on there. Well, I've managed to get some time alone by myself and there's no one here, so I just pop a glue dot just on that knot. It holds it in place. You can just tighten it and and push that down a bit. Let's just pop that under there a bit, yep. And then when you tie your bow, the glue dot not only holds your bow in place, but the bow covers it so no one sees that. So there we go. That's my take on Rustic. Thank you so much. If you got to the end of this, thank you so much for hanging in there. I apologise that I'm not nearly as professional as a lot of the other design team members. I'm just starting out on this, and as I said, I've got limited time. Just like everybody, you know, I'm time poor, and I figured that if I wait till I'm absolutely perfect, I'm never going to do it. So thank you. So here's my congratulations card, and on the inside I've done some stamping just like I did on the envelope and I showed you. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Lou Kitzelman from With a Bow on Top by Lou. Make sure you look at the information underneath this so that you can find out who's next in the blog hop, and also in the video hop, sorry, and also head over to my blog so that you can find out more information about this and also other things that I've been up to. Thanks everybody. See you next time. Bye.